Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we are playing a game from the NES. We're going to see if it's a straight port or slightly different. Very good classic Bionic Commando. It seems a bit like the original. Why are we're doing fine there, but when we want to do it there, we're having a hell of a time. There we go. So we can do it in the air, it just wants to be fussy about it is really what it's coming down to. We got a little too zealous on that one. So all in all, it seems to be a decent enough port over. It does take some getting used to because instead of jumping, we only have our. So there's no jumping down. There's only up and over. Oh, that's right, so we gotta do that. So now we gotta go back up again. This is definitely where this game kind of, keeps itself a little different than other games in its same kind of class. It has its unique thing with the grappler. The diagonal is not functioning when we need it to. I used to really love this game, but now that we're playing it nowadays, starting to see the flaws and just the slight annoyances that come in with the game. And definitely much a slower game than its predecessor. Getting to be annoying. Like, we saw that you can still do it in the air. But it does make the gameplay a little... I mean, it is definitely unique, but also a little annoying. Ah, I ducked and it did not do the ducking. Again, no, none of the, can't move when we're ducked. And apparently we ran out of ammo. So they can't jump up, we can't. I hate that you can't change position when you're crouched. It's always been a huge issue for me. Yeah, I like the concept, and I really do have fond memories of this game as a kid. I beat it multiple times, always enjoyed it. But playing it now, you can just feel the issues that it has. But when this is like one of the few games you play and you don't have as much experience in controls and just functions and everything else. Back in the day, this was just, it was what it was, and it was, you adapted easier because there wasn't a whole lot prior that you kind of got your kind of reflexes, not so much reflexes, but just muscle memory and stuff like that, to where, most games now, a lot of them kind of fit into the same thing with movements and controls and stuff. But I have noticed, especially like stuff where, you get really into like some Souls games and stuff, and then you play some of the other action-y games where the controls are different, and it's like you're so muscle memoried onto one type of game that playing the other one with different controls, part of you is like, well, okay, fine, we can get used to it, but you honestly, part of you doesn't really want to fully get used to it because you want to keep that muscle memory and that ability and that skill level with that set controls, because they're the games that you like to play the most. So it's kind of unfortunate when you get into spots where you either can't change up the button configuration, or not even that, or more so just that it kind of really messes with the gameplay that you're doing in order to keep that, muscle memory, that, that kind of brain mindset and everything that you're used to, that skill set that you're used to on games that you really like that all have the same control scheme. I was noticing that trying miserably going back to Final Fantasy 16, which, again, it's just too boring of a game. But the controls are slightly different than Souls, but it's kind of has a bit of the Souls-like stuff with the maneuvering and everything. But because you're so used to one, skill set and one move stuff, where one button does a specific thing that you're very used to doing, and now you've got to use a different button for it, and that other button that you're very used to trying to do the same thing is completely different, to where you wind up hitting that button more often than you want to. But complete tangent on that one. But like this game, you didn't really have a lot. I mean, Mario was run, jump, run, jump. That wasn't a big deal when you come from that to a game where you don't jump, but you move around and you do this, and it wasn't a huge deal. But now that you're playing it, you realize that trying to shoot your grappler diagonally isn't working in a lot of situations where it should, because of, you know, falling and whatever, and it just doesn't function how you should, where normally in more games now it would. So it's less like all the stuff that should happen, that would be happening now, doesn't happen with this game. So like what you're used to now is way different than what you would have been used to when you were playing this game. And I feel that a lot playing this, where it is such a, you know, far cry from what you're used to. See, it's like sometimes we could do this and it's fine, and then the other times you hit other stuff and it's just, it's just so getting used to the game in and of itself, where, you know, you literally have to fight for every inch that you make in this game. Which is not a bad thing. Like, honestly, this is a very tough game. Always been a fairly difficult game because of, you know, because of the controls, because of the way everything functioned. And then this whole thing where you can't drop down. Like not being able to jump and not being able to, you know, drop down a level and do stuff, and you just fall and hope that you can do things. It's just very... And then of course we're not big enough, tall enough to hit that, so it's really weird. And it's not shooting diagonally. And it's very frustrating. Like, if it functioned well enough that you could shoot your thing diagonally while you're falling and everything, it wouldn't be as big a deal. But the fact that it's not is really frustrating, especially having... We're just going to move on. I don't feel like dealing with that. Being able to pick and choose your levels and everything also is pretty nice. Ah, that's... So how do you get out? I think we used our... Like, it has other items, but we're not able to use them. Like, we hit select, but every button we push exits. Start doesn't do anything. So I don't understand what we're supposed to do here to use... to switch our items. it's doing well in doing the Spider-Man thing. Ah, I thought I was paying more attention to him getting up. Hey, typing, you can use it in area 1, 3, and 4. Well, we were not able to use it in 3. Ah, I forgot he was there again. Ah. They're doubling it this time around. Whew! We barely skinned by on that one. So cheesy. This is one of those bullshit battles, dude. Everything you do so far, it's so... Fuck you. I forgot you can kill him. I just remembered that he saw the energy thing at the bottom. We barely pulled that one through. Let's go 15. So every time we beat one, we get another health. Are we having fun? I don't know if we just can't do anything here. I mean, I know we went to level 15, but still. They should have some way of doing it. But I'm guessing they don't. We're kind of screwed, I think. We're going to do this until we run out of ammo, and then we're going to die. The wide is okay, but it has shit for range. Alright, I think we're gonna sit here until we die. Is that what it looks like, right? Yeah, we can't do anything. We're just... There's no point in sitting here infinitely just killing things. So, I mean, all in all, it seems like a pretty decent port over. It's another one of those things where, yeah, if you only have the Game Boy to play, go with it on the Game Boy. But if you have the option to both and you want to play it, it's definitely a much better game on NES. Like, by far, I feel like. I feel like it's a little slower. I can't remember off the top of my head fully the extent of the game, how it played on NES, but this one feels a little slower, and of course, you know, it's black and white, so it just, in color is always better. We already know that, otherwise we'd still be in black and white, right? I want to know where you got that weapon at this early on in the game, but it's kind of fun watching how well the computer can do it when it's programmed to do that. Did he just jump on the dude's head? But all in all, the game is and always will be a very good game, a very unique and different game. There's a lot I feel like could have been done and implemented to make it a better game, like being able to shoot. I mean, I think later on you can shoot while you're grappled. Because I believe I remember way late in the game, there was a boss that you fought in the trees, and you had to do a lot of grapples and moving around and everything. So I thought there was some kind of firing when we were in it, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. Early on you can't, obviously. And then also the diagonal when you're falling and you not being able to do it is really obnoxious. You really have to be able to throw yourself in order to do it again. And there's a lot of nuances to the game that just takes a while to get used to. It's not necessarily anything wrong with the game. There's nothing bad about it. It's its own unique entity, and it has its own set of rules that you need to adapt to be able to play it. Like I said, way back in the day when this came out, there was not a huge array of games even remotely close to this. All of them were pretty much the basic Mario kind of clone-ish things, where it was just run and jump. So that, and then Contra jump and fire. So this was kind of a different take on the Contra-esque kind of games, where you just had a completely different skill set, move set, and everything that you had to do. And it wasn't hard to kind of so-called forget all the stuff that you were doing prior and just adapting to and playing it just fine. Like, I really didn't have a huge problem with it when I played it originally. And like I said, I beat the game, loved the game. But now it's playing it now after other games, like the Spider-Mans and a bunch of the other games that have the somewhat same kind of, move sets and abilities and stuff. You play this and then you realize how just different and very unique and specific that this game itself was, as opposed to all the other ones, even if it had the same kind of things going on. It's a good game, and if you've never played it, I highly recommend sitting down, spending a good amount of time, and just giving it a really good go for it, because it's a lot of fun, and after a while, you start to really get the hang of it, you start to enjoy it, you realize the mechanics. Like you saw, there are abilities to skip some levels here and there, not overly advised at some points. I think, like we saw earlier, I mean, we wasted a continue, we wasted everything going to level 15, which was, stupid in and of itself. But you have the option, and you can move around and pick and choose. And once you know the game, you can learn what you need to do, where you can and can't go, and just there's a lot of nuances to the game. It is fairly still unique even to this day, I feel like, because just the way it functions, the way it moves, the limited amount of things that you can actually do still feels very non-linear, very robust because of everything, and it just really lends itself to a really different game style. It's really all it boils down to. A lot of bouncing, a lot of learning how to work the physics of the game, the swinging, the projectiles, everything. You know, it takes a lot of work to really get the hang of the game. Once you do, I really find that you start getting into a rhythm and you start really enjoying and understanding the game. So that being said, guys, you have a good one. Till next time, see you next time.